Hi, welcome to Shriviews. Today I want to talk about audience engagement through the lens of something I learned in media theory. Now I've been making videos for over a year now and I've been slowly iteratively improving on my technique over the year. But there's something that's always been bothering me, and that's the user engagement graph. I'll pull it up on the screen right now. You can see that the graph is pretty good up until 2 to 3 minutes, and then there's this exponential decline in the number of people who watch the video till the end. Now, I've looked at tutorials online, there's a lot of tips and tricks, I've been getting feedback and working on that as well, but I felt like I was only scratching the surface of what I can really be doing in terms of improving the user retention and audience engagement. So I started to look into media theory and I went down that rabbit hole for a few weeks. The first and foremost thing that came up was Marshall McLuhan, of course, and the famous saying of the medium is the message. What he meant by that is that the medium of communication alters how the message is perceived, which in turn shapes our behaviors and human society as a whole. What I want to talk about is a specific aspect of McLuhan's theory, and that's hot versus cool media. Now, contrary to what you would expect, hot media is the one that demands passive acceptance, and cool media is the one where people actively participate in that media. To explain further, hot media engages one sense in a high definition way and has a low level of audience participation. For example, radio or printed books. Radio engages the auditory senses while books engage the visual sense, for example. Cool media, on the other hand, involves multiple senses being engaged at the same time and also involves the user filling in the gaps using their own thinking and cognition. A good example of cool media is, of course, TV, where you have to absorb visuals as well as auditory information, and you have to form your own thoughts about what's being discussed or being talked about on the TV. I looked at the two things that I usually create, that's blog posts and videos, and I tried looking at them through the lens of hot and cool media, but I soon realized that this binary classification is not going to be enough. Of course, you can be a bit naive and say that because videos require both audio and visual information, it can be cool media, while blog posts are hot media because it's mostly words. But here's the thing about that, right? Blog posts aren't printed. It's not a printed book. It's a part of a electronic media. There's all kinds of things you can do with a blog post. You can link to other things. You can add audio visual information in it. So that really dissolves that binary classification of hot versus cool. Also, the platform I use for videos is YouTube at the moment, and it has its own caveats, its own meta game going on. See, when you think of a YouTuber, you think of a particular archetype of a person, the high energy, hey, what's up guys, and that kind of stuff. There's so many tropes associated with a YouTuber that really went unnoticed for me until I began making YouTube videos. So there's a particular archetype of a person, there's particular tropes associated with that person, there's particular behaviors, right? There's calls to action like, oh, please like, share and subscribe, hit the bell icon, and so on and so forth. There are a few other things as well. The video essayist Lindsay Ellis has created a great video about this. I'll link that in the description along with all the other videos that I watched to research this view. So Lindsay Ellis discusses how these tropes have emerged. For example, making yourself appear more personable and agreeable to others, making it look like what you're doing is not a high production value, it's something that's organic and low production value, and that creates this sense of this is one of us, this isn't some big Hollywood studio production or something like that, and that makes people really latch on to you as a personality even more in this age of relatable personalities as opposed to celebrities who you're supposed to put on a pedestal. That was a very interesting thing because there's this development of something called parasocial relationship between the content creator and the watcher or the commenter or subscriber, whatever you want to call it. And there's a whole lot of research being done about that right now as well, where parasocial relationships being formed, how that's changing society. So again, the medium is the message, right? Your platforms that you're using here are shaping society as a whole. You're going back to that medium is the message that was said in the 60s by Marshall McLuhan. I'll give an example specific to me and my experiences. There's when I started making YouTube videos, a lot of people were taken aback or surprised that I was so soft spoken or low key or calm and collected. It's as if the archetype, as I mentioned previously, of a YouTuber is to be loud, boisterous, everything you know turned up to 11, something that's always just high energy. And it's as if people can't just be staid and calm and collected and talk about something in a slow voice or a calm demeanor. Again, this isn't just a video viewing platform. It's a video delivery platform, and it has its own community built around it, just with the simple creation of subscribers and comment sections. And at the beginning of YouTube, there used to be this feature called video responses, which they removed, but there's this sense of community that lies at the core of the YouTube experience that has really evolved over the years. This medium is not just the small video box that you see, or a big video box in case it's a television, but it's the comment section. It's when people share and talk about it on other social media. It's all connected to each other in this big weird web. So where does the medium end and where does the other website or other medium begin? It's all interconnected these days. Now you can say that there's different media, there's hot media and cool media, but what about the viewer, right? People's relationship with media is different in different circumstances. It's a whole lot of contextual information that we are missing here. In my experience as a UX researcher, these days I've been doing some research on smart speakers, and even with that medium of smart speakers, there's so many different ways that people use it. People either actively engage with it by asking questions or actively listening to something, or they can have it playing in the background by saying, hey, just play some ambient music, ambient sounds, help me sleep, things like that. So people's relationships with these mediums are changing, and they are very different and more nuanced than just active participation versus passive. What people may actively participate with on one hand can be someone's passive participation on the other hand, like I mentioned with the smart speaker. What people can consider instead of hot and cool media, you can say you're heating up to something or you're cooling down for something. What about that perspective? So when it comes to engaging with my audience and answering that riddle, I think I'm back on square one, unfortunately. But I did learn a lot about media and how people interact with the different media styles, especially in today's age where things have become a lot more nuanced than just the original hot and cool media dichotomy. There was one thing that will stick with me though, and that's the true meaning of the medium is the message. How the medium really shapes society as a whole, that weird butterfly effect thing that's going on there. What should I do now then? Is the real question. Should I adopt these tropes? Should I have this high energy, high octane presentation? Should I try to form a parasocial or relationship with my unnamed audience right now? It's at 95 subscribers and I'm really close to 100, so I guess I should start coming up with names at this point. Or should I continue doing what I'm doing, just having a staid and calm conversation based on some of the thoughts that are in my head? That's the reason behind doing this. This was initially deemed as the logical succession of my previous thing, which was blog posting, and how that I was feeling like I was cramped within that space and there was not much I could do within the realm of blogs, and how this will extend my reach into something new. But something new brought with it a different kind of information, right? There's new visual information. You can put a face to those words that I was writing previously, and that's a new thing. But as I'm working with this new medium and trying to figure it out with the lack of a formal education in these matters, I don't know anything about, for example, in the last video, I got a lot of comments about framing It looked like I was cramped in a corner, so I have changed things up right now. So there is a sense of community coming up here very slowly, but I guess it's just a matter of time. Maybe one day the YouTube algorithm will suddenly decide to shower me with blessings and I'll become some viral star. But till then, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. So this is the end of the video. I'd like to thank everybody for watching. Please subscribe. As I mentioned, I'm close to 100 subscribers and I'd appreciate if I could hit that milestone. Like this video if you liked it, and if you dislike it, press the thumbs down twice. And remember, anyone who claims to know all the answers has lied to you once already. I'll see you next time.